Hello. So transitioning into the real world, that's what we're talking about today. How do we get from behind the desk to in front of the desk, in front of the room, smoothly? So if you watch the video from last Thursday, it talks about how we get through teacher prep programs and what the next step is. And today we talked about in class, what are some of those things that we need to think about transitioning forward into, like, how is this going to look? And I encourage you to watch the video that I'll link below. It's from our textbook. It's in Module 2 of our textbook, and it talks about wisdom and being virtuous. So when we think about how do we take some of those big qualities and fit them into teaching and still do all the job part of our teaching. So in the video, you'll notice the first let's just watch the first 5 minutes for sure. But the first 5 minutes we'll talk about like a janitor's job, like some of the things that a janitor has to do, sweep the floor, mop the bedrooms, whatever it is, in a hospital. And so all of those things that they have to do have nothing to do with people. But how many times do we know that those janitors are changing their jobs, helping people out without being in your job description? Same thing with teaching. Same thing. So when you get a teacher contract, and some of those things that you have to do would be like write lesson plans, connect your curriculum to Common Core standards, or parent-teacher conferences, or engage in the communication twice a week with parents. Whatever it is, whatever your contract says, most often it doesn't have to do with the relationship and the attitude that you have in your classroom. But that really is what controls all of it. So take a look at that video and kind of think about what is the best way to jump into that side of the room, like that side of what I'm going to be doing in the next couple of years. So as students, what we know is what we've been experiencing and what we've seen, but we don't really know how to go about being the teacher part of this transition. And that's kind of what we chatted about today. So I encourage you to look through Module 2 in your book. I will link it again below, but it's also in Module 2 right below what this video is. Please look at that. The next thing we chatted about, and that's what your discussion will be today, is teacher salary. Eesh, it's not very good. Well, it isn't. I shouldn't say it's not really good all the time, depending on where you decide to go. So your discussion post for today, if you are not in class, is wages are a tough subject when it comes to teaching. What are your thoughts on teacher salaries? And if you're not sure what teacher salaries are, go look, go find out, dig around the internet and find some websites that might have teacher salaries on there. You can go to OPI, which is our Office of Public Instruction for the state of Montana, and that can give you some information as well. Most often, first-year teachers will, depending on the school, will start out between $25,000 and $35,000 a year. Pretty wide base. Even in larger schools like maybe Helena or Billings, they get a little bit more. Smaller schools like Terry or Jordan might get a little less. It just is all on average. So how does that affect what you're going to be doing as a teacher? So that's something to think about. And if you have ever thought about getting a part-time job, a summer job, something to support that teaching, maybe it might be coaching. You do get paid to coach. So that would be something to think about too. Personally, and because I've been a teacher for more than 23 years now, is that I definitely think the benefits of teaching outweigh anything negative that comes into teaching. So I kind of want to know what your thoughts are. Because this is an exploratory class and it's EDU 101, which is basically starting out, that you can totally kind of like see how you feel about this. You don't have to love it, because it might not be the same when you get to be in your teaching position. So transitioning to the real world, one of the big things is wisdom, building those relationships. You're responsible for their learning. Transitioning to being a teacher. What are you scared of? Wages are a big thing. All of it. So please read Module 2 in your book, in your textbook. I will link it below. And please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.